This video was brought to you by stntrading.eu. They enhance your trading experience by offering extremely fast automated trading services for both TF2 and CSGO. Check them out in the description below. Hey guys, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to be talking about the top 10 cheapest unusuals in the whole game. I actually made this exact same video like a year ago to this day now, and it's going to be something kind of cool because we get to see how, if any of the cheapest unusuals have changed, like if there are still hats that were on the list back then in this video, how much their prices have changed or something like that. And we also get to see kind of how much better these videos have gotten. So I don't know if any of you are going to want to, but you can go back and check that old video from a year ago. It's just called Top 10 Cheapest Unusuals, I think, or something like that. And yeah, you can kind of see just how bad I was at it back then and how kind of like mediocre-ish I am at it now. So yeah, anyway, thank you for listening to this intro bit. I don't know why I did this as a separate thing, but it's fine. It works. Anyway, let's get into the top 10 cheapest unusuals. So the first hat on this list at 9 keys, we have the Aces High Coupe Disaster. Now, I feel like a lot of this stuff I'm going to be saying about this hat is kind of going to be repeated for a lot of these heavy hats on this list because, you know, it's low tier, it's a heavy hat, it's not a great looking hat either, and the effect, while it is quite nice to some people, a lot of traders don't really like it because there's just so many of them, and the supply is much higher than the demand. All this very, very technical business stuff, and we don't care because we know it's 9 keys, and we don't really need to know the reason, but it is. Next up, we have the Nuts and Bolts Stately Steel Toe. Now, this is a hat I talked about last year, but not Nuts and Bolts. I think it was Orbiting Planets that I did. But yeah, this is 9 keys as well. A lot of these are going to be 9 keys and stuff like that, so bear with me. But yeah, the Stately Steel Toe isn't too bad. It's not the best hat in the world either, but I kind of like these underrated hats. I don't really know why, but the Stately Steel Toe is a hat that I wouldn't mind wearing for a little bit. Definitely not like dream loadout worthy, but not bad. Next up at 9 keys again, we have the Bubbling Metal Billycock. I think that's the base metal Billycock. And this was actually in last year's video, and I don't think the price has changed at all. I mean, it's still 9 keys, which is still pretty good for an unusual. Bubbling's a nice effect. The base metal Billycock isn't too bad. I mean, obviously there's better hats out there that you could get, but base metal Billycock, it's a robo hat. It's going to be really hard to sell if you do get one, but it's cheap, so if you want a spy unusual, there you go. Next up, we have the Aces High Pugilist Protector. I still don't know if I'm saying that right after having it in 3 videos or something like that in this year, but that is 9 keys again, surprise. And I feel like a Pugilist Protector was in the last video, but not Aces High. And honestly, like, it's not a bad hat, it's just not as flashy and not as obvious as a lot of other heavy hats are, which is kind of why this one is so underrated, because it's not as obvious and not as flashy and big and stuff like that, and cool looking, you know? And yeah, that seems to be the case with a lot of these hats. At 8.5 keys, we have the Nuts and Bolts Magnificent Mongolian, and this was in the last video as well for pretty much the same price. So that kind of shows that this one is quite stable. I mean, it will stay the same price for a year and it doesn't really show any signs of going up or down. And yeah, like Nuts and Bolts, a lot of people like it. Every time I say I don't like it, people say, oh no, I like it. But I don't really like the effect that much. It's not too bad, but it's not great. I wouldn't use it in like a set that I cared about, obviously. But yeah, the Mongolian's alright. Like, I kind of like it. But, you know, it's all personal preference and stuff like that. So, yeah. Next up, we have the Orbiting Fire Cadaver's Cranium, or Cadaver's Cranium, however you say it. But that is 8.5 keys. And this was also in the last video. I don't think the price on it has changed too much, but I hate this hat. There's something just about it that I really, really don't like. And I don't know why it is, but I really don't like it. Orbiting Fire, though, is a nice effect. A lot of people really like that. It's probably one of the best low-tier effects out there. Like, in my opinion anyway. Obviously, you are all entitled to your own opinions, but I don't like the hat, but I like the effect. Next up, we have the Orbiting Planets hard counter for 8.5 keys. Now, this hat is a hat that some people like, some people use as a joke, or people just don't like. And I'm kind of in the people who would use this as a joke and never take it too seriously. And like, I wouldn't really use it for anything other than a joke. But Orbiting Planets is quite nice, I guess. Like, I used to like it a lot more than I do now, but a lot of people still really like Orbiting Planets because it's a really nice low tier effect. It's not the most obvious low tier effect out there, but it's definitely not too bad, and you can easily tell, oh, that guy's got an unusual on if you're looking at it from a distance. But yeah, it's quite, I don't know. Next up, we have the Nuts and Bolts football helmet. Now, the football helmet is a hat I do kind of like. I never wear it on heavy, but I do kind of like it. And Nuts and Bolts, as I've already said, is people like it. Some people don't, and that's fine. But other than that, the football helmet for 8 keys with a decent effect on it that some people do like is actually a pretty good deal. And you can probably find one of these for a little bit cheaper if you look on Outpost or you find the right person trying to sell it or something like that. But 8 keys is very, very good for an entry level unusual. Next up, we have the Aces High Dreadnought for 8 keys as well. And the Dreadnought is a hat notorious for being low tier and being bad. And not a hat that a lot of people like. Apparently, some people got kind of offended when I insulted a Dreadnought or one of the heavy hats that was a hairstyle. Some people got quite insulted that I just didn't like it. And I'm sorry, but it's kind of my opinion, and that's fine as well. You can have yours, and I'm not going to say you're stupid for it, but it's fine. Whatever. Aces High, as I've said, is a pretty decent effect, not too bad. But the Dreadnought, I don't really like it. And finally, we have the Aces High Katusha for 8 keys. Now, this hat is a hat I talked about quite a lot in some of these videos. I don't remember which, but I definitely remember talking about them, or talking about this hat. And honestly, like, it's not bad, but there was so much more they could have done with it, and it could have been a bit better if they just changed some parts of it. Like, it's a very, very flat hat, and it's like just boring to look at, really, and it's a bit dull. I'm not a massive fan of it. I know some people in the comments section, when I asked about it, did actually quite like it, so that's pretty cool to see. Honestly, I don't really like it all that much. It's a decent hat, I guess, if you want to just buy an unusual to start with. And Aces High, as I've said, is a good effect. People like it, but a Katusha, not my favourite. So that's going to do it for this video. I do hope you enjoyed this list. I hope that my videos over this past year have been much better than they were last time I made a video like this. And I might make another one of these next Christmas Eve to see the changes and stuff, and I don't know, maybe not. I'm probably going to forget. But anyway, thank you so much for the support on all of my past videos. They're doing insane right now, and I'm loving reading all your comments, seeing all the likes and stuff like that, and it's just insane. And also, thank you for making that old top 10 cheapest unusuals one of the most popular videos on my channel. That is absolutely insane. It got 113,000 views, and a lot of those were actually just when it was released, and it had 100,000 views very shortly after it coming out. Currently, it's the 4th most popular video on my channel, and that's just ridiculous. Like, the top 5 cheapest Australians has only just overtaken it, and it's only overtaken by about 1,000 views, so that's insane as well. So once again, thank you all so much for watching the video. Thank you for all of the awesome support this year, and I'll see you all tomorrow for a different type of video, I think. Anyway, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you then. Goodbye.